You think maybe we should be a little more concerned about everything? Probably. Hey everyone, welcome back to Legend of Heroes, Trails of Cold Steel. And last time, we found, well, some things are down here in ruin. And this time, we gotta go to the Saxon Iron Mine, because they're going down.
Ugh, every minute we spend here, things are worse for the mines. Stay calm, Elisa.
Yeah, the railway militaries are on their way.
It's at least trying to look at what's going on.
And it really does sound like a good idea. Second, the map is fairly easy to get out, encounter enemies, which immediately after I fully expect to run into these, but that's fine.
And if terrorists really were planning to blow up mine,
It would very found Dampire.
Very pleasant things to hear because, you know, it's kind of heard. Well, not heard specifically, but, you know, the writing makes quite a bit of sense.
Watch out.
Into the Saxon Iron Mine we go. What the hell? This is awful. Smoke's pouring out all over the place. Can't see too far like this. Terrorists set fire to something? It's like the fire's been put out. It still seems off. So the terrorists tried to strike here rather than the military factory. Look, over there by the entrance. Huh, it's like the railway military police, the provincial army. Yeah, but what are they doing here? It's like the entrance is completely blocked off too. Let's go and take a closer look. Some sketchy things are definitely going down. Very sketchy indeed. I should not turbo mode. This is a very tense moment, so let's just sprint down there normally. Take in the scenery, I guess. Not a good way to describe it, but whatever. The terrorists have complete control of the mine. They've taken the miners hostage. Any attempt to enter the mine may put their lives in jeopardy. And that's why you're standing out here twiddling your thumbs while even attempting to negotiate with them? They clearly have an objective in mind here. You can't allow them to buy any further time. That looks like they're a pretty heated argument. So the terrorists have taken over the mine. It's the first ones on the scene, the provincial army have taken upon themselves to set up a blockade. Or at least that's what it looks like at first glance. But why? Man, this has suspicious written all over it. Yep, the provincial army is too well prepared. No matter how you look at this, they've got to be in on it. You can't be serious. In on it? The terrorists set up some kind of explosion in there. Look at all that smoke pouring out. That's what they want you to think. That doesn't look like smoke from a fire to me. They're probably using smoke grenades. Smoke grenades? That's true, then that means the provincial army has some other reason for blockading the mine. I think it's got something to do with Reinford's first factory. That's right, the railway military police were investigating the first factory too, weren't they? Yeah, that's what Captain Claire said. It makes this timing of all this look pretty damn suspect. It's like there's something they're trying to hide. And that means they'd seal the mine to give them time to dispose of it. Makes a fair bit of sense if you think about it. What could they be trying to hide? It's down there. No way to say for sure right now. What I can say, though, is that it's pretty likely the miners are in danger. We need to find some way to help them if we can. Let's turn to Rue for now. Just think carefully about what to do next. Lisa. Yep, if we're going in, it's better to have a plan. Alright, let's head back.
Well, to start with, we need to work out exactly what's going on here.
If it's true that the terrorists are working with the noble faction, then it seems likely their aim is to eliminate the evidence of whatever they've been hiding in the first factory.
But did they really have to go this far? The iron mine is owned by His Majesty the Emperor himself, right?
That's right. The province of Nortia is tasked with managing it while Reinford mines, refines, and processes the iron. And iron is the single most vital natural resource to this nation's continued survival. If this isn't resolved quickly, it's going to deal a heavy blow to the entire country, including the nobles themselves.
So I guess the question is just whether the noble faction and the terrorists realize that or not. Sounds to me like they're a pretty divided bunch as it is.
Yep. The terrorists seem like they're basically all commoners, too. They're only cooperating because they both see the Chancellor as a common enemy.
And if that's the case, it seems pretty likely that what they're doing here is related to that somehow.
Sounds like someone started the party without me.
Angelica?
You came too, George?
Yo, figured you'd show up eventually.
Well, we had to test the sidecar, obviously.
This bike is just full of surprises. We made the trip to Ruhr in 7 hours. So, speed-wise, we're looking great. Comfort, though, we're gonna have to tweak a few things.
I swear, you two never change. Kinda figured Toho wouldn't be able to make it too.
Yeah, she's working on gathering a boatload of information, though. She'd be in touch, finds anything out.
Well, that's reassuring us.
Could somebody know what's going?
He's hot on the trail of something, but not sure it's we're investigating.
Does it have something to do with those family told me you were worried about?
It does. I had some visions about it. My hunch turned out to be right on the money.
Hold on, isn't that your first fact?
My dear Heidel Rogner. Yeah. Seems like it might do us both some good, though.
Well, let's find a better place.
Iron black market?
The amount of steel doesn't quite match up with the amount of iron ore being mined. That's been the case for quite a...
The reason given is purity of the ore being mined is lower now than it used to be. But if you look at what's coming out of the mine, there's no evidence of that.
Well, that would explain why the figures don't add up.
And because they were feeding the raw iron onto the black market rather than the finished steel...
That makes it a lot harder to notice when a little goes missing here and there.
Man, Toho put all the pieces together on her own?
I expect no less from my beloved Toa.
She poured over it. The sales figment reports of mine's product. You named it. That's how she picked up a...
Surely something else.
Iron ore being sold off the market. Sheets that don't add up. Iron ore is accounted for, roughly speaking. You know? Assuming for a moment that all the iron was refined steel would be...
This is just a bit of speculative math on my part, but I'd say somewhere in the neighborhood of 100,000 Torum, which is enough to build 2,000 oxen tanks.
2,000?
That's practically an army.
The Saxon iron mine is a pillar of the Empire's economy. The amount of iron they pull out of there is almost ridiculous. Even if you pocket a small amount every year, it's going to add up to a lot of iron real quick.
But what are they planning to do with all of it? Is the noble faction trying to make their own tanks in secret?
They couldn't even if they wanted to. Only the second factory has the knowledge and equipment to make tanks. And not only does the second factory have close ties with the Imperial Army, it also leans toward the reformist faction.
You need all kinds of complicated technology to make even a basic tank. It's not as simple as just grabbing some steel, some blueprints, and some grease and getting to work.
So what does that leave them? Selling the iron to another country for profit? I don't know how likely that is. Seems like deals that big would be too easy to trace.
Okay, so setting aside the ore itself for a moment, now that you know this, and given what's happening in Ruhr right now, what were the two of you planning on doing?
Oh. It's pretty simple. My uncle oversees the first factory, and the provincial army is blockading the mine. There's no way my family isn't involved. On the other side, you've got all the miners just trying to do their jobs who got dragged into this whole mess. I'm a Ragnar. I might not be a great daughter, but there's no way I'm gonna let this go on without putting up a fight.
Angie.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. You're seriously gonna go talk to your old man about this?
Hell no. Like he'd even listen to a word I said. Same goes for the provincial army. I'd just be wasting my breath. That's why I'm planning on sorting out this mess myself. I used to work part-time in the mine. I know the place like the back of my hand. As long as I can find my way inside, I think I can handle the terrorists well enough.
I figured you'd say something like that.
Honestly, does nothing faze you?
In that case, I'd like to ask that you take us along.
We can look at this as a test of how to best respond to a sudden crisis. Looking at it from perspective, I think it's neatly within the scope of field study. You?
After hearing that, want to let them have...
Agree.
I'm with Angelica here. My fan this too. I feel like I have a duty to do.
Thanks. Truth told, I was kind of back me up anyway. Whatever help you, I'll take it.
Well, the next to consider is how to slip into without the provincials. At the very least, Angie should be able to get the officer in charge to talk with her, but...
So, what, we sneak inside while she's distracting them?
I don't know. That sounds a little overly simplistic to work.
Leave finding our way in to me. If anyone's good at cutting red tape, it's my mother. Maybe she could help us out.
She could. Would she?
Well, if you think so.
All right, I'll leave securing an alternate route to you then. For now, I'm gonna see if I can find out anything else about my family's or the Provincial Army's involvement here. George, give Toa a call and see if you can find out what the Imperial government is doing about all this.
Gotcha. I'll see if I can turn up any machinery that might be useful too.
This is starting to feel like last year's field studies all over again.
We were glad to have George, Angelica, and Toa backing us up. In a crisis like this, we needed all the help we could get. As our first order of business, we went to see Chairman Arena, hoping she'd know of some way to sneak into the mine. Should get going too. Mother should be back at the Ranford headquarters by now, right? I think so. Sharon said she'd be in around noon. You know, she's asking the reception desk, though. Yeah. Looks like we'll be kicking into high gear again. I feel like every field study doesn't end up like this. Indeed it is, because that's what makes a fun game. Now, of course, we do have that quest that we did that we should probably go and turn in. So, even though we're not exactly on great terms with the Provincial Army right now, we still did turn in that, or we still did complete that request for them, so... So you defeated the monster on the highway to the south, did you? Not too shabby. For students. Thank you very much. Well, keep up the good work. Here's your reward. And we get basically 8,000 bucks. Don't get yourself involved in matters that don't concern you. That is what we do on a daily basis. We're JRPG characters. Obviously, we're going to get involved. Now, there's also one other thing that I want to take care of before we head into the Rhine. Actually, is it in here? Let me double check my stuff. Yes. Do we want to go to the Institute of Technology? Speak to Receptionist Frog. It's happening over the mine, but it's more in time. Terrible, it's happening over mine, but in time it's more important to stay calm. I learned you to do the same. Perhaps reading a book will help. And we get Red Moon Rose, Chapter 13. Also, we can see George is speaking to Institute people. But I think that we should probably just, you know, go on and get going into the Rhineford HQ now that we've taken care of everything that we need to... I'm pretty sure it's everything that we need to do. Let's head into the building. Into headquarters. And... yes, we are good. Okay. Just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing anything. Lady Lisa, thank goodness you're alright. I was so worried when I heard you left the city. Oh, you're talking about the trouble at the mine, right? Actually, I was hoping to talk with Mother about that. Is she in her office right now? Chairman Arena returned just a short while ago. Would you like me to set up an appointment? Please. Yes, that's right. Lady Lisa's... understood. She says she can see you right now, though she can't spare more than a few minutes. I want to head up right now. She's waiting for you in her office. Thank you. Shouldn't take long. Alright, let's head up to floor 23. Why do I get the feeling Sharon is going to be right there to welcome us? You can count on it. Indeed, we can. We can always count on Sharon. As she said, just call my name in your heart and I'll be there. Something like that. And, yes, this is a point of no return. This will end, this is all but ending our free study. Free study? Field study. I just want to double check I'm not missing anything here, and we should be good.
everyone. I've been waiting for you.
I knew it.
Like the rising of the sun.
I see how it is. You're taking Reinford's side again, huh?
As long as I wear this uniform, I'm simply a humble maid of the Reinford household. You, the chairman, and Master Grim are all deeply important to me.
Thanks, I think. Show us in then.
Of course. Please follow me.
Bring them in.
As you wish.
Mother, we need to see you.
Excuse us.
I apologize for canceling our dinner plans last night, but it's looking unlikely I'll be able to join you tonight either.
No, that's fine. We understand.
It's hardly surprising given the current circumstances.
I'm not sure what's keeping you so busy, considering you haven't even managed to fulfill one of your most basic duties.
My lady.
The miners who work at Saxon are employees of this company. With the Provincial Army barricading the mine and refusing to budge, those miners are at the mercy of the terrorists. I assume you've issued a formal objection to Marquis Ragnar?
Not on behalf of the company, no. It sounds like Director Heidel Ragnar of the First Factory has requested something be done, as a formality, but nothing more.
That's it? The First Factory has been dumping huge amounts of ore onto the black market for years now. Don't even try and tell me you haven't noticed it.
Of course I've noticed. Being unable to bring the First Factory in line allowed that to happen, and that's my failure, I admit. But think, if we assume the terrorists aren't acting alone here, what good would it do to issue an objection to Marquis Ragnar?
Well...
There are many possible outcomes to this crisis, and we must be prepared for all of them. For example, we need to consider the possibility that the terrorists may set off an explosive in the mine, and how to respond to that. This is a global company. Measures will need to be put in place to protect stock prices, taking Crossbell into account too.
She's got a point. Anything that affects the Reinford company is going to indirectly affect a lot of people's lives.
Correct. The Reinford Group is its own entity with its own role to fill. And I have mine as chairman. The Provincial Army and the RMP are acting in accordance with their purpose. And one might even say the same of the terrorists. Action with a purpose. That's what keeps the world in motion. So tell me, what's your purpose?
Well...
If you get what I'm saying, I suggest you leave. I expect the explosion at the military factory is the extent of the damage the terrorists will cause here. I'll give you several additional tasks. I suggest you work on those for the remainder of the day. And considering the situation, it'd be best if you leave tomorrow morning. You have my permit as a sitting in the Academy's board.
I don't think so. I'm not making the same mistakes anymore. I've turned a blind eye to what's going on right in front of me. I did it when you drove Grandfather out and took his position as chairman. And I did it when Father died and you let work become your life. All along, you've been working to build the company bigger, and all along, I just looked the other way. But in our field studies at Thor's, I've seen the imbalances and injustices of the world crop up over and over again. But even with that, I, and all of us, really, have to face that head on. And that's exactly what we've been doing. You asked what our purpose is. After 6 months at the Academy, that's my answer.
Well said.
Agreed.
That's why this time, I don't plan on backing down. You need to hear the truth, and I need to be the one to tell you. Daughter, your family. And above all, as some watched the company grow ever since a girl. Mother, it's company the wrong way.
Lady.
Can I assume you, your infinite wisdom, are planning to me the correct way to run my...
Naturally, but I still need experience before I can do. Promise you, though, that by the time I graduate from the academy, I'll show you how this company should be run. As someone who just might succeed you as the chairman someday, I should be able to do at least that much.
Oh. It's one thing to make a promise. It's quite another to live up to it. Still, at least you're starting to see the bigger picture.
Mother.
Give it to her, Sharon.
Certainly. Here, my lady.
What's this? Some kind of key card?
Correct. It opens the door to a passage that connects Ruhr City to the iron mine.
Wait!
There's really a secret passage?
The former chairman built it for use in case of an emergency. You'll find the entrance in the underground part of a maintenance room on the upper level of the city.
If we use that passage...
We should be able to completely avoid having to deal with the provincial army.
I'm not going to say thanks. Right now, I just believe this is the best way to press forward. And I'm going to tell you why through actions, not words.
Excuse us, Madam Chairman. We've learned a lot during our field studies, and we'll put it all to use to come out on top.
You don't need to worry about us.
They've grown a lot in the last months. Been a pleasure to them. Surely it would acknowledge that Lady Elise has grown too.
She's a ways to go. If to take the mountain for the company, she'll have to show she's got what it takes. Anyway, it seems all our principal players assembled. Can I ask one more thing for me?
Certainly.
Elise's S-Craft has been upgraded. After our meeting, we contacted Angelica and George, who agreed to meet in front of the maintenance room that hid the entrance to the secret passage to the mine.
Who would have thought ground passage going all the way from Ruhr to the mine? Gwen really does think of everything.
Oh, you know Elise's grandfather?
I've heard you two got along famously back when he was still living in Ruhr.
He taught me all kinds of great stuff. How to pick up girls, the best spots in the entertainment district, you know, the really important things in life.
It's not that I can't believe it, it's that I can. Too easily.
I can only hope to sit and learn at the feet of the master one day.
Still, it's probably thanks to him that Angie didn't go any further off the rails than she did.
Can't deny that.
That's nothing to laugh about.
I wonder if we'll seem as colorful to the first years when we're second years.
So, you think this is gonna work?
Alright, that should do it.
What is this thing?
We'll wave in.
Currently in development, Institute of Technology managed to convince me to borrow it. It emits directional orbital light in the area, transmit and receive. That means able to use your Arcus unit's communicationality even here in the mine.
Sounds pretty handy.
You can do that?
Yep. Toa's busy gathering information on what's going on across the Empire right now. And I'll be able to pass that info along to you while overseeing this operation. But if things get too dangerous, I'll give you the order to pull out, so make sure you keep the line open.
Got it.
It'll be nice to have some support.
Well, if George is just a call away, we've got nothing to worry about.
Okay, I think it's about time we got going. And thanks again, everyone, for coming along. I've got my Arcus on me, so I should be able to hold my own in battle.
Always room for one more with us.
Your knowledge of the mind will really be invaluable.
I'm looking forward to seeing you clean up with those Taito skills of yours.
And Angelica joins the party. But we'll be seeing her in action next time, because that's honestly, probably should have cut off a little bit earlier, but oh well. So next time, we'll be exploring the mine. So until then, see you guys later.